Hurricane Milton live updates. Tropical storm force wind reaches Florida hours before landfall. Hurricane Milton is nearing Florida's Gulf Coast, where millions have been told to evacuate as forecasters warn it could be one of the most destructive hurricanes on record for the west-central part of the state. What time will Hurricane Milton make landfall? The National Hurricane Center said Milton will likely make landfall as a major hurricane along the west-central coast of Florida late Wednesday night or early Thursday morning, and it will move off the east coast of Florida on Thursday afternoon. I've said many times that if you want to pick a fight with Mother Nature, she's winning 100% of the time, Tampa Mayor Jane Castor said. And individuals that are in these, say you're in a single-story home, 12 feet is above that house. So if you're in it, basically that's the coffin you're in. What is storm surge and where could it be the worst? Well, storm surge is the abnormal rise of seawater level caused by a storm. The NHC warned the combination of storm surge and the tide will cause areas that are normally dry near the coast to be flooded. From Anna Maria Island, Florida to Boca Grande, Florida, the storm surge could be 10 to 15 feet above the ground. From Anclote River, Florida to Anna Maria Island, Florida in Tampa Bay, Charlotte Harbor, and from Boca Grande to Bonita Beach, Florida, the storm surge could reach 8 to 12 feet. Where have tornado warnings been issued? Tornado warnings are in effect for the eastern coast of Florida in Okeechobee, St. Lucie, and Indian River, near West Palm Beach through the early afternoon. Tornado watches are in effect until 9 p.m. for the same area, as well as Seminole near Tampa and much of southern Florida. What have politicians said about Hurricane Milton? President Joe Biden addressed the country from the White House Tuesday morning and called Hurricane Milton a matter of life and death. He encouraged Florida residents in the path of the storm to evacuate now and postponed a planned international trip to Germany and Angola in order to oversee preparations for and the response to Hurricane Milton. Vice President Kamala Harris and DeSantis have been in a strange he said she said about the incoming storm, with Harris accusing DeSantis of not taking her calls and playing political games. DeSantis said Harris has no role in this, and that he's been communicating just fine with Biden, who also said he has been in touch. Biden said he gave DeSantis his personal phone number and told him to call if there is anything the federal government can do to help. Tampa Mayor Jane Castor said in an interview with CNN, "I can say without any dramatization whatsoever, if you choose to stay in one of those evacuation areas, you're going to die." How is travel to Florida impacted by Hurricane Milton? Tampa International Airport closed at 9 a.m. Tuesday, with plans to reopen as soon as it is safe later this week, and Orlando International Airport will close at 8 a.m. Wednesday. More than 1,700 flights into and out of the United States were canceled as of 8:50 a.m. on Wednesday, and another 350 were delayed. Orlando saw by far the most cancellations, with 398 flights originating there being canceled, and 423 flights arriving there being canceled, followed by Tampa with about 190 canceled each way, according to FlightAware. Major airlines have told passengers they can change their plans without paying a fare difference. Walt Disney World Resort is closing its parks beginning Wednesday morning, news that came after Goldman Sachs predicted the company is likely to take a 9-figure hit financially from the storm. Universal Resort Orlando announced Tuesday afternoon it will close at 2 p.m. EDT Wednesday and remain closed Thursday. Legoland Florida Resort and SeaWorld Orlando will both be closed on Wednesday and Thursday, and Busch Gardens Tampa is now closed through Thursday. Have Waffle Houses closed for Hurricane Milton? Yes. Tampa area locations of Waffle House, the breakfast food chain, will close ahead of Milton's projected landfall. The company cited the so-called Waffle House Index in a social media post explaining the decision. This index is a reference to a scale invented by former Federal Emergency Management Agency's administrator Craig Fugate to judge the severity of a natural disaster. If Waffle Houses in an area are open and serving a full menu, it's a green on the index. A limited menu is a yellow on the scale, meaning the local area could be without electricity or water. The index goes to red if the locations close down, indicating the local community will be in need of significant help. Could Hurricane Milton be a Category 6 hurricane? No, there is currently no such thing as a Category 6 hurricane. The National Hurricane Center measures storm intensity using the Saffir-Simpson Hurricane Wind Scale, which ranks storms up to a Category 5. But some scientists think it may be time for a change. Earlier this year, researchers proposed adding a 6th hurricane category to describe storms with wind speeds above 192 miles per hour, and adjusting the current Category 5 description to include storms with winds between 157 and 192 miles per hour. Using that proposed scale, 5 storms between 1980 and 2021 would have been classified as a Category 6, none of which threatened to make landfall in the United States. The National Hurricane Center in February said it has no plans to add a Category 6 to its hurricane scale. Key background: Milton will be the second major hurricane to hit Florida in 2 weeks. Hurricane Helene hit the state on September 26th, killing at least 20 in Florida before going on to devastate parts of the southeastern United States. More than 220 people have died and hundreds more are still missing, with western North Carolina taking the brunt of flooding that the state's governor says wiped communities off the map. In Florida, people are still working to clear debris from Helene as the next storm bears down. Ahead of Hurricane Milton, Hillsborough County, home to Tampa, ordered evacuations for areas near Tampa Bay and for all mobile and manufactured homes by Tuesday night. Lee County, home to Fort Myers, issued a mandatory evacuation order for the island of Fort Myers Beach. Other mandatory evacuation orders have been issued in Pinellas County, Pasco County, and Manatee County. DeSantis on Tuesday said he wasn't sure exactly how many people plan to evacuate for Hurricane Milton, but he thinks those who saw Hurricane Helene will be particularly motivated to leave the area. Tangent. The Federal Emergency Management Agency has said it is grappling with extremely damaging false narratives circulating about Hurricane Helene, which hit the U.S. 2 weeks ago. FEMA Chief Deanne Criswell said misinformation about the storm and the federal government's response is the worst she's ever seen, as former President Donald Trump and his allies slam the agency. Trump incorrectly claimed FEMA couldn't respond appropriately to the storm because it diverted so much money to helping migrants on the order of Vice President Kamala Harris. Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas said the agency is meeting the immediate needs with the money that we have. Other rumors include that FEMA has been withholding aid from areas that have historically voted Republican, and that the agency is only giving $750 to disaster survivors to support their recovery.